Hey everyone, today we are going to be making the SpongeBob plushie. Now this is not for the faint of heart. This is not really a beginner crochet tutorial, so I would say this one is kind of like end of beginner level to intermediate for sure, because there is sewing. You're using smaller cotton yarn. If you use plush yarn, feel free to do that, and actually it's probably easier because then you don't have to use like a smaller strand of your 4-ply cotton yarn. You could just use 4-ply cotton yarn for these extra details. Other than that, we are about to get into it. There's a lot of sewing for this one, so do be prepared. But if you love SpongeBob, it is such a super cute little workup, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and go check out my other beginner mini tutorials. All right, let's get straight into it and have a look at the materials. All right, let us begin. So first of all, we are going to chain 8. Make a slip knot, and then from here chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we've got to be really keep your eye on the ball here so you know what we're doing. Start in the second loop from the hook and work a single crochet stitch. Then work another 5 single crochet stitches down here. So this is number 2. Keep this very visible. You can even mark this with a stitch marker. So that's number 2 all together. This one's number 3 all together, 4, 5 all together, and here is number 6. Number 6 single crochet stitch. Okay, we have 1 loop left right here, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to come in here. We're going to work a single crochet stitch, then we chain 2, 1, 2. From here, we're going to work another single crochet stitch inside that same spot. Single, chain 2, 1, 2. Come inside that same spot again and work another single crochet stitch. There we go. Now we are working on the other side of this chain, so we're not coming in that same loop again. We're coming right here. And you can weave this in as you go. We're working 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, and try and keep this turned out as best as you can. So that's 3, here's number 4, and here's number 5. We have another last kind of section to get into, which is right here. Hope you can see that right here before this first single crochet stitch. Okay, so what we do in here is we're going to work a single crochet stitch, chain 2, come back here, work another single crochet stitch, chain 2, work another single crochet stitch, and from here you can make a slip stitch in the very first stitch space of the round. There we go. So that's round 1 all complete. Give it a little bit of a stretch there. Make sure you have all of those stitches that we've just done. Okay, round number 2, here's what it is. Keep your eyes peeled. Chain 1, come right here, and you can mark this as your first single crochet stitch. Okay, mark that if you need to. 1, 2, we're going to do 7. So that's 2, here's number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now remember that chain 2 that we did? There's a space inside that chain 2, so we call that the chain 2 space. And in here we are going to work a single crochet stitch. We're going to chain 2 and work in that same chain 2 space another single crochet stitch. Then from here, do you remember how we had that middle single crochet stitch? Well, we're going to enter the hook through that and work another single crochet stitch. Then we have the next chain 2 space, and we'll work so let me just get my hook in that chain 2 space properly. So here's the chain 2 space, 1 and 2. We are going to work a single crochet stitch first, chain 2, same chain 2 space, and work another single crochet stitch. Now from here we're going to work 7 single crochet stitches down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's number 7. And now we have our next chain 2 space, which is right here. We will work a single crochet stitch first, chain 2, and then in the same chain 2 spot, you work another single crochet stitch. Then remember we have this single crochet stitch in the middle, so we work another single crochet stitch. Then we have this chain 2 space, and we work a single, chain 2, come back in that chain 2 space, work another single, and then you should have one more single crochet stitch space to get into, where you just work a single crochet stitch. And then from here we are going to come into the very first stitch space of the round, and we're not going to slip stitch this time. This time we're going to begin straight away with the next round, which is round number 3. Okay, so let's do round number 3 here. We are actually going to be working in the back loops only for round number 3, and we're doing the following. Start off with one single crochet stitch in the back loop. There it is. You can mark that if you need to. So that's 1, work another one, back loop, 2, 3, back loop only, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's 8, back loop only, single crochet stitch, so that's 8. Here's that chain 2 space. Now can you see the chain 2, 1 and 2? I want you to skip one of those chains and come into this one here, back loop only, and work a single crochet stitch. Then you'll have another 3 back loops only, 1, 2, 3, and then here's the chain 2 space again. Right here's the chain 2 space. There's the chain 1, there's the chain 2. I want you to skip chain 1, and I want you to go directly into chain 2 back loop and work a single crochet stitch. Then continue on down the length of this side. So we've got 1 single crochet stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and number 9. Then you have these 2 chains. You're going to skip 1, you're going to come to the second, work a back loop only, single crochet stitch as always. From here you've got another 3 back loop only, single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3. Then over here you are going to have a look at this, chain 1, chain 2, skip the chain 1, go directly into chain 2 back loop only, and then another back loop only single crochet stitch over here. And there we go, guys. So that was my last one right here, which was my 28th stitch. So count them around, 28 stitches. You might see this one here, but we're actually going to not come here. We're coming straight where we made that first back loop only single crochet stitch, and that's where we begin the next round. And don't forget to mark this if you need to as well. So you should have 28 stitches in total. Now for the next, well, let's see, rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's 7 rounds. You are just going to work 28 single crochet stitches and keep these stitches as straight as possible. You might want to mark the very first stitch space, which is right here. You can mark that with a stitch marker or whatever it may be. And to keep your stitches straight, this is my 3rd one of the round. I am going to pull up 2 loops, and then as I pull through, I'm going to keep my hook as vertical or as overreached as possible. So I'll show you again. This is the 4th one. Overreached like that. Here is the 5th. As I pull the hook through, my hook is vertical or overreached. Just like that. And you'll maintain that the entire way from here on out. So continue 28 stitches for each round for the next 7 rounds. Alright, so we're up to round number 10. This is the 27th stitch. So we've got 1 more stitch to go. Here's the 28th, and it's actually here that we change our yarn color to white. So I'm going to pull this through just like this, pull that through. And now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work a slip stitch in this next space. So a slip stitch as my first stitch for round number 11 in white. And I've got these 2 yarn tails under over the hook as I work this loose slip stitch. So there's a loose slip stitch right there. From here, we are going to do the following. So technically, you'll count that as your first stitch. Then you will have another 11. So 1, 2. So technically this. Okay, so you're working only. Here we've got a slip stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm working 10 single crochet stitches, including the slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. Now this could be different for you, but essentially you want to line it up. So if you're looking at the square, you want to line this up so that when you're performing this next stitch, which is part of the shoulder arm, it's got to be in line as best as possible. So what you're going to do here is wrap the yarn, and instead of coming here, you're going to come not down here but down here, so 2 rounds directly below, and then you'll enter in the hook and you'll pull yarn up, and make sure you pull it up just like that. Then pull it through 2 and repeat. Wrap the yarn, come in that same stitch space, pull up the yarn and pull through 2. Wrap the yarn again, come in, pull up, pull through 2. We're going to do it one more time. Wrap the yarn, come in, pull up, make sure you pull up and pull through 2. Here we have 5 loops on the on the hook, and we're going to pull the yarn through all 5 loops on the hook. And there we go. That's kind of the first shirt section right here, as you can see. Okay, continue on. So we've got, let's count, 1, 2, 3, and again this might be different for you, 4, 5, the actual numbering, 6, 7, 8, 9, just checking it out, 10, 11, almost there, 12, 13, and it could either come right here or it can come right here where we are about to go. In fact, I'm going to try it here first. So I've got 12 so far, and now I'm going to make the spike bubble stitch. So wrap the yarn, don't come here but come 2 rounds directly below, enter the hook and pull up. Let's just see what it looks like by only making 12 single crochet stitches. I just want to have them even, and it can vary depending on your yarn tension and things like this, especially since we're crocheting in a spiral. So you just have to be mindful of all of these things. Okay, it's not bad, but you can see that it is leaning a little bit more forward compared to this one. So we could either change this one to 1 step forward, or we can change this one to 1 step back. Let's see what it looks like if I continue on as normal by making that 13th single crochet stitch. And then the spike bubble, don't come here but come 2 rounds directly below, pull up the yarn and pull through 2. Wrap the yarn, come in, pull up and pull through 2. And you want to do this another 2 times. Wrap the yarn, come in, pull up, make sure you pull up, pull through 2, only 2. One more time, wrap the yarn, come in, pull up and pull through 2. 5 loops on the hook, pull yarn through all 5 loops on the hook, and look, that's what we're looking like now with the arms. And from here you have, let's say, 1, 2, 3 single crochet stitches left. Done. Okay, so that is that round right there, round number 11. Round number 12, we are going to do the following. You'll still come in this first stitch space, and you are going to start off with 5 single crochet stitches. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's number 5. Then I want you to make something called an invisible decrease. Invisible decrease. So have a look at this. You'll come in the front loop first, then the front loop again of the next stitch space, pull through and pull through. That's our first invisible decrease. And I want you to repeat that pattern 4 times in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. Followed by invisible decrease. Front loop, yarn through, and repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, invisible decrease, front loop, yarn through, and there should be one more to do. So 1, 2, 3, the arm stitch, 4, 5, plus invisible decrease, front loop, yarn through, and from here on this last invisible decrease you will actually change your yarn color to brown. So grab your brown colored yarn and weave this through just like that. Okay, so for the next 3 rounds you will just be making 24 single crochet stitches, and you can start off right here, sorry, not there, right here where the first stitch will be, and you can start this off with a loose slip stitch as well. So there's 1, you can weave these yarn tails in as you go, 2, 3, just for a little bit at least, 4, 5, and you'll continue for the next 3 rounds, 24 stitches. So 23 single crochet stitches and the 1 slip stitch for at least the first one, and the other 2 rounds will just be 24 single crochet stitches. Count this as though it is just a regular single crochet stitch, and I can write it there, but it is a slip stitch, and that just helps even out the color changes as best as possible. So we're actually going to do one more round as well. This would be round number 16, guys. So continue on with 24 single crochet stitches, and this is for round number 16. From here we finished that, and I'm just going to make a slip stitch in this very next stitch space, because from here I'm actually going to be cutting the yarn, and for now we will just leave a little bit of a yarn tail, maybe like 20 centimeters, because I don't know if we're going to be using it from here to do the sewing or from the other one, so I'll just leave it as 20 centimeters for now. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to pull this through. Now, of course, with these 2 yarn tails, these also can be chopped. And now what we're going to do to keep this as square as possible, I'm actually going to make the base, and we're going to sew the base onto this section here. So let's get on with the base. But essentially, that is the SpongeBob body so far. So what we're going to do for the base is we are going to again make a slip knot. This is kind of how we began, except we don't chain as many this time. This time we just chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll start off in the second loop from the hook with a single crochet stitch. 1, another 3 to go, 2, well, 4 in total, 3, and here's number 4. And you can see here we're left with 1 last loop. Now in here what we need to do is come in, work a single crochet stitch first, chain 2, and then come straight back in that same stitch space, single crochet stitch, chain 2, and once again in the same space, single crochet stitch. Okay. Keep this pointed the right way around. You can even mark it with a stitch marker, your very first stitch space. But from here we're going to come into the back of the chain, and we're just going to work 3 single crochet stitches. So here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3, and then you have this last little spot over here where again we're going to do the exact same thing. So single crochet stitch first, chain 2, back in this spot, single crochet stitch, and then from there we are also going to chain 2, then 1 more single crochet stitch in that same space, and then connect to the very first stitch space with, oops, need to get right in it though, here, do it again, with a slip stitch. Okay, so I'm fine with you guys making a slip stitch. Okay, we're up to round number 2 here. Chain 1. Okay, so from here we are going to make 7 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I meant 5, my bad. So it is 5. And then here, single crochet stitch in the chain 2 space, chain 2, come back in that chain 2 space and work another single crochet stitch. Then remember that middle. So you work another single crochet stitch in the middle there, and then here's the last single chain 2 space is what I mean. So you'll come in here, work a single, chain 2, another single in the chain 2 space, and then you can come right here in the very first stitch space of the round, work a slip stitch, and that's it. Then you'll pull the yarn through, and you can just leave a yarn tail on this one as well. Again, I'm not sure which one we're going to use just yet for the sewing, but essentially there we go. That is the flat piece that we are going to have sit with this one over here, and we're going to sew that together. I've worked out which yarn tail I'm going to use for the sewing. I'm actually going to use this one, and mostly just because I chopped it to be a lot larger. I've left about maybe like a 40cm yarn tail over here for the body. Now for this one, since I won't need this yarn tail, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my needle come through some of these back stitches. So this is the front, here's the back, and I'm going to have this needle come through the back, just across some of those little ridges, as you can see, and then I'm just going to have this yarn tail be sewn or woven into those stitches as I go. So watch this, pulling it through, there we go, and that's what it will look like. And then I'll just chop this off, and boom, all done. Okay, now with this yarn tail, I'm going to feed it through the eye of my needle, just like this. And now we're going to get this, kind of lean it on, and you can see roughly we're going to start around about here, and all I'm going to do is go into the back loops. So here it is, and all of these are the back loops. So I'm going into the back loops always of this piece, and then I'm going to go into the front and back loops of this piece of the body. Does that make sense? And then back into the back loop of the small piece, give it a pull, and then back into the front and back loops of the body. And you're going to do this all the way around, keeping it as nice and even as possible as you work all the way around. So guys, I'm going to get you to do that now. You have the technique, so there it is. Alright, and just before you close this, you actually do need to fill this all with fiber filling, and make sure you get right to the very top. So just be careful how you do this, because you do want even distribution. So make sure you're using a pair of cutters or something to really condense and compress the yarn all the way to the top until you get to the bottom. And you do want this quite nicely filled all the way, because you want a sturdy little body. So make sure you're doing that, and then continue to finish your sewing at the end. And once you've closed it all up, I'm just going to weave this in a few times in a couple of different spots to really secure this in place. And I'll just weave it over the diagonal on the stitch. I hope you can see that. But it will just give it that seamless finish. So there's one, and here's the diagonal here, so I'm going to go across that, and I'll just come and finish that as well. Okay, once I'm done that, I'm going to chop the yarn, and there essentially is the finished result of the body. Now you can either go this way or this way. I'm probably going to use this one so that you don't really see this little indentation here with the yarn color changes, but in any case, you should be able to use either side. Okay. Now, by the way, if you tried sewing this, you may have had to go through a couple of stitches twice as you were going around, but I hope you worked that out anyway. So that is the finished result of the body. Alright, so when it comes to the arms, this is what we're going to do. Grab yourselves your yellow yarn tail and leave a long, maybe 30-40cm tail, and then from there make a slip knot. You probably won't need all that, but just in case. So make a slip knot. Now from here we're going to do or work a kind of foundation chain. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the yarn come across. So this long tail, by the way, we're going across the top of the hook, And then we're pulling the yarn through those 2 loops on the hook. And that's our first little foundation chain. And we'll repeat that again. So here's the second, here's the third, fourth, fifth, and here's the sixth. And this is what we're going to do from here. Technically, this right here is the second loop from the hook, right? And we are going to work a bubble stitch in this. So we need to wrap the yarn and come right here. We can even have this yarn tail kind of woven in as we do this, and pull up the yarn. Then pull through 2. And do it again. Wrap the yarn, come in that second loop or foundation chain from the hook, pull up, and then pull through 2. And again, wrap the yarn, come in the same spot, pull up, and pull through 2. Okay, so from here, what I want you to do is pull the yarn through all those loops. And then the next thing that I want you to do is come back down. You can chain 1, come back down to this section, and work a slip stitch. And there we go. Pull the yarn through to finish. And leave yourselves a little bit of a yarn tail. I'm not sure how much we'll need just yet, but just leave yourselves a bit of a yarn tail. Okay, try and poke this the right way around so that that bubble stitch is looking as good as we can get it. There we go. There's your bubble stitch. You want to make 2 of these in total. Alright, so when it comes to these little extended sections of the pants, this is what we're going to do. Grab some brown colored yarn, and all I want you to do is make a magic ring. And then inside this magic ring, you will work 6 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. Then pull the yarn tail to finish and to close that magic ring. And then enter your hook into the very first stitch space of the round. You can have this yarn tail on top of the hook as you do that, and work a slip stitch and chain 1. Now from here, round number 2, you're working in the back loops only, and it will just be 6 back loop only single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3. Oops, make sure you get all of the yarn. So that was, this one here is number 4. Oh, I don't know why I'm having trouble with that one. I'll try it again. So here, number 4, there we go. 5. And lastly, number 6. Now turn this the right way around. You should be able to see that front loop coming forth there. And then squeeze these together. Enter your hook into the very first stitch space of that round. Pull this, give this a nice tug. Pull, pull, pull as you make your slip stitch. And then pull the yarn through and leave yourselves a good 15 centimeter yarn tail for sewing. So here's the piece that we need. You need to make 2 of these. And with this yarn tail here, this little one, you can kind of fit it into the pants just as much as will fit. The rest of the excess you can just chop away, but it just you don't need to add fiber filling then in that case. So I'm going to chop off that, get that away, and then the rest of it will just be poked in until secure. Okay, so that's the little panty section for our SpongeBob. We've got 2 of these. We've made the 2 arms. I guess let's get onto the 2 legs as well. Alright, let's get to the leg section. Now there will be yarn tails and a change of color. It's very similar to the arms, but we have 2 different colors, so we will have some extra yarn tails that we will end up weaving in later on. Leave yourselves about a 20 centimeter yarn tail in white. Doesn't need to be that long. And make a slip knot. Now remember what we did for the arms. So we wrap this around, come and grab at the bottom, and then pull this working yarn through those 2 loops. You want to make 6 of these in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th one, we are actually going to change our yarn color to black. I know, this is going to be tough. But here's the black yarn, our working yarn, and we pull this through. Okay, hold all of these yarn tails. I'm going to get you to chain one to lock that in place there. Now what you're going to do is a bubble stitch essentially again. So you wrap the yarn, you come into the second loop from the hook down here, and I want you to wrap these yarn tails. So just have them on top of the hook as you do this. Pull up a loop, pull through 2. Two loops are on the hook at this point. Wrap the yarn, come in the same spot, have those yarn tails on top of the hook, pull up and pull through 2. And once more, wrap the yarn. I know there's a lot here. Come in, pull up, pull through 2. You've got 4 loops on the hook. You're going to weave through all 4 loops. You're going to chain 2. You're going to come back down here, enter in, and work a slip stitch to finish this off. And then pull the yarn through, cut yourselves about a 10 centimeter yarn tail. And what I want you to do is with this one and all 3 of these, you're going to tie a knot. 1, 2. Okay, so there's a lot going on there, as you can see. Now I'm going to push this the right way around. It takes a little bit of working effort as well to push this the right way around. It's kind of like an inverted bobble stitch at the moment. We need to push it, help it form. You can use a pair of cutters or something to help you do that. And there we go. So what you want to do from here on is basically, and you know what, you probably didn't need to tie this twice because we've got this big bump over here, but that's okay. That is okay. I might end up just taking one of those out. I'm going to weave this black yarn tail kind of through the back of this, if I can. And then this white one we're going to use a little bit later. But essentially you're making 2 of these. These are the 2 legs that we're using. I'll quickly show you how. Maybe I'll just take out one of these because this is a big bump and I didn't mean it for it to be so big. Take out one of these. You can see aesthetics really are an important thing here. Okay, so with this, I'm going to weave this into the black section. There's not much else you can do with this, by the way, except weave it in. And then cut it. So here I'm just weaving it. 1, and I'll go back the other way. And I'll come out over here. And this is where I'm going to chop the yarn. I'll do the same with this one, and these 2 yarn tails we can weave through the white right up to the top here, and then we could have that in preparation for the sewing. So I'll let you guys do that now. I'll make 2 of these. And there we go, guys. Those are the 2 legs now complete, and you can see that I've woven in the black yarn, I've chopped it off, and then I've woven in the white yarn so that it reaches the very top of the leg, and we can use that directly for sewing later. You'll do the exact same for the arm. There's not the black ones to sew through, so that's good. So you'll just have these and they'll work its way up with the needle all the way to the top here, ready for sewing. Okay, so those are the legs and the arms. Now let's get on to the nose and the necktie. So what you should do first is cut yourselves about a 80 centimeter piece of yellow yarn. This is the nose, by the way. And then just pull 1 strand apart. Do 1 strand at a time. I find that with 4-ply cotton yarn, it's so much easier if you pull 1 strand apart at a time rather than 2. So here's the second one that we pull apart. And that leaves us with 2 lots of 2-ply cotton yarn. Now this is what we're going to work with. So I want you to make a magic ring. You can see we just made it a little bit thinner, so this is helpful at least. Okay, and then you're going to work 5 single crochet stitches inside this magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's number 5. From here, you want to pull your magic ring, so you close the gap. Enter the hook through the very first stitch space of that round number 1. Have the yarn tail on top of the hook just to secure it even more, and work a slip stitch and chain 1. For the next 2 rounds, you are just going to work 5 single crochet stitches, and that's it. So 5 single crochet stitches for the next 2 rounds, and you can finish each round with a slip stitch and a chain 1. And we'll come back together at the end of round number 3. And there is the end result of the nose. Now I've pulled the yarn through, so I had quite a bit of a yarn tail here. And then with this one that's kind of in the center, I'm just going to either chop it or push it into the nose to hide it away. Completely up to you how you want to do that. You can also add a tiny bit of fiber filling to this nose if you would like to before sewing. But again, that's up to you depending on how rigid you want this nose to be, or if you want it to be a little floppy. Up to you how you want to do that. So there we go, that's what it looks like. All right, so that's the nose, guys. Well done. Let's get on to the next thing. And now we are up to making the eye. So I've made one here, we're going to make another one. All right, so this is what we're going to do. You're going to use the same hook, but you got to keep these stitches nice and like, I guess tight in a way, but just, I don't know, I'll show you. Okay, so you're going to start off with black yarn. And by the way, so you know how you normally have your 4-ply cotton yarn. All you'll need to do is take off 1 ply, so cut yourselves about a good 40 centimeters worth, and then pull 1 ply from that. And there you go, you've got 1 ply cotton yarn. You'll do the same with the blue, cut yourselves about 40 centimeters worth. With the white, cut yourselves a little bit more, like 60 centimeters, maybe a little bit more, and give yourselves 1 ply of each of those colors, black, cyan, and white. Okay, we're going to start off with the black. And we are going to make a magic ring. Now, when it comes to this magic ring, I want you to keep the first thing that we do inside here a little bit loose, and this is a single crochet stitch. We'll actually work 5 single crochet stitches inside here, but for the first one we'll just have a tiny bit more loose than the other one so we can get into it later. So that's 1, and keep these ones a little bit tighter, 2, but not too tight either because you got to get into them, 3, 4, and here is number 5. Now it's hard. I don't want to say hard because I don't want to make this hard for you. But we need to change color here. So this is what we're going to do. And I know there's going to be yarn tails in the way. It's a nuisance, but this is all going to be worth it in the end. So pull your cyan colored yarn through to finish that 5th single crochet stitch. Hold it over here. Grab your yarn tail, the shorter one of the black, and give it a pull to close the magic ring. Now from here, you can see we have this blue colored yarn. I kind of need you guys to hold all of these yarn tails so that we don't make this last stitch super loose. And it doesn't matter if you can't do it right here. The aim is to get into the first stitch space of the round, but just in the back loop only. Then give these a little bit more of a tug, a pull, and then make a slip stitch and chain 1. Okay, so from here, you're working only in the back loops. You're going to have these yarn tails over the top of the hook for at least the first increase. We're making an increase here, 1 in the back loop only in cyan, and 2. And keep these stitches a little bit tight, sorry. Here's the second back loop when we're working another increase. You can probably get the gist of it. We're working 5 increases in total with cyan colored yarn. So that's 2. Back loop only. Here is number 3. And I'm keeping these as small as possible. I don't want to stretch the stitches. I'm already kind of doing that because I'm using 1 ply and a 2mm hook. But just be aware of how this looks. Okay, here's number 4 increase, 1 and 2, and number 5 increase, lucky last, back loop only, 1 and 2. And it's on this one that we need to change our yarn color to white. So we now need the white colored yarn, 1 ply only. Remember that, 1 ply only. Pull through. Now you're going to come into the very first stitch of the round, but in the back loop only. Makes it easier going through the back loop, by the way. Grab these 2 yarn tails, white and cyan. Work a slip stitch. And chain 1. Now here's what we're going to do. We're not going to cut anything just yet. We're working still in the back loops for this round number 3. Work a single crochet stitch first. Next back loop, have the yarn, 2 yarn tails on top of the hook, just those 2, the white and the cyan, for at least this last increase. So 1 and 2. All right, now with your white colored yarn, you'll just repeat that pattern. Single first, then an increase. 1 and 2. Again, single first, back loop only, followed by increase, back loop only, 1, and don't make these really loose, don't make them loose. So here's the 4th time we're repeating that pattern. Single first, followed by increase, back loop only, 1 and 2. Now if you're working with plush yarn, you could just use a regular 4-ply cotton yarn, by the way. There's easy ways to do this. And last one, single crochet stitch first, followed by increase. Okay, this time we're not coming to the back loop, coming into directly the first stitch space of the round. There we go. Slip stitch, chain 1. Now for round number 4, it's going to be working in the front and back loops. You'll work 2 single crochet stitches this time, 1 and 2, followed by an increase, and you will repeat that 5 times in total for round number 4, and then we'll come back together. Finally, finish our last round, round number 5. This time we are working 3 single crochet stitches. Keep these stitches tight to, not super tight, but not loose either. So that's 3 plus an increase, 1 and 2, and I want you to repeat that all the way around 5 times in total. You will have 25 stitches at the end of this next round to finish, and I'm going to pull all of the remaining yarn through, and I might just cut myself a little bit as well. I don't need to pull all of it through. I'll use this for sewing. Now when it comes to the back section, we're going to tie some of these together, so we need to figure out which ones to tie. The closest ones, right? So we've got the white and cyan over here from rounds 2 and 3. In fact, I'll use the white one to go around the cyan. So you can see here is 1, give it a nice pull, and here's number 2. Boom, that's done. And now with these ones, we're going to take the cyan, and then I'm going to just wrap these 2. Tie it in a double knot, so there's 1. Don't want to get the other yarn tails caught up, so I'll just grab these 2 again. So that was 1. I did pull it quite tightly, and here's number 2. All right, once you're done that, once you finish that, you're going to chop the yarn tails above those knots. We don't want them getting in the way. And there we go. That is the finished result of the 2 eyes. There we go. Okay, so eyes are now complete. We are up to the necktie. So for the necktie, I've cut myself about a 50 centimeter piece of red yarn, and I'm going to take 1 ply away at a time until I'm left with 2 strands. Okay, I hope I have enough. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Start off, just leave yourselves a little bit of a yarn tail, maybe like 7 centimeters. It doesn't matter how much, as long as you've got enough over here. And then pull the yarn through, make a slip knot, and chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, now in the very last loop, you are going to work an increase. 1, 2. There we go. Chain 1, turn. Work 2 single crochet stitches. 1. We did this for Harry Potter. If you saw Harry Potter and the tutorials for that, that's what we did. 2 single crochet stitches here, chain 1, turn, 2 single crochet stitches over here, 1 and 2, that's row 3, chain 1 and turn. Here's row 4, 1, 2. Shall we check if this is? I think that's pretty good. Okay, so 4 rows in total. If you want it longer, keep adding. Pull the yarn through to finish. And there we go. We'll use these 2 yarn tails to sew that onto the body later on. But there is the necktie. Okay, so we are, quite frankly, we're up to the sewing section and there's a lot of sewing to do. So I do apologize. Again, this is an intermediate pattern. Probably not the beginner style, but hey, if you are ambitious, absolutely do this because I know you can. Okay, so I've pinned on the eyes and they're kind of right at the top here. I'm leaving a tiny bit of space for some eyebrows that I can embroider on later. Of course, if you want to use felt or something like that and you're familiar with all of that and you just have your little felt print out and you iron press it on or whatnot, feel free to do that, absolutely, or glue it on. I'm just showing you the crochet version of the eyes. If you also wanted to add safety eyes, feel free to do that too. Completely up to you how you want to do it. I'm just showing you an alternative method. Okay, so I've got the nose pinned on. I've got these arms kind of pinned on at the sides right here, and we've got the necktie. Now, I think the easiest thing to start with is the necktie. Now, it doesn't have to be the first thing you start off with, but I think since everything else is kind of in place, the necktie just feels like it's appropriate. So let us sew the necktie. Super easy. We've pinned it at kind of the top portion of the white section, and I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to come out somewhere that's close by to this corner, and it needs to be close by. You don't want it too far out, otherwise it won't look good and you will see all of that sewing, and you don't want to see sewing. So take out these pins now, pull up, come back into that stitch space, and I might just come back here, pull this, and we are going to come up here on this corner, pull through, come back into this stitch space, and then I'm just going to come at the back here. It doesn't matter where, just somewhere. Come at the back. Okay, next we have this yarn tail just to sew in place, and it's going to be super simple. This is why we left a little bit of a yarn tail at the beginning, just so we could sew it in place. So essentially you'll find the middle, have the yarn tail come through, and then have the needle emerge in the same stitch space, pull that through, and look, you've got 2 yarn tails here, and this is going to be a method to keep these nice and secure, where you tie the 2 yarn tails in a double knot. 1 and 2. Then, of course, you will need to cut above the knot. And with your little bit of a needle, you will also pull that into the body to hide. Okay, necktie is officially on. Right, so I think the next intuitive thing would be to do the arms. Now you can see we've got the arms here. I'm going to take off one of these, and you see these 2 yarn tails over here? We need to draw them right up to the top. So I'm going to have my yarn needle, and it's going to go through, basically it's going to go through the foundation chain as best as I can weave it there until I get to the top. See? And now with these 2 yarn tails, you can do one at a time, you can do both at the same time. Again, that's up to you. I'm going to try and have them both done at the same time. And from there, we're going to weave it up to the top. Okay, so how are we going? I think just need to pull this one. All right, so the 2 yarn tails are at the top now, and here I'm just going to use one to sew it on. I'll use the longer one since that's easiest. So I'm going to come over here, have this the right way around. It's going to be right at the top or base of the shirt, essentially. And I am just going to have the yarn tail come through this stitch space. That's it. Then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to come back here, come out this side this time, give it a pull, come out the top on this side, come back in, and I'm going to leave it there. I'll have the yarn tail come through over here. Done. Now with this yarn tail, I'm just going to directly have it inserted and come out where this other yarn tail is. By the way, everything that I'm doing here, you're doing to the other arm, the exact same method. So there's no ambiguity anywhere. There, and we've got these two yarn tails tied together in a double knot. Cut at the very top, remove that yarn tail, and with your knot, push that into the body to hide. Okay, that's the first arm officially on. I want you to repeat with this second arm over here. I'll let you guys. Arms are officially sewn on. Now we're going to do the short section. So I've pinned them on, and you can see there's a little bit of a gap between it, but we're roughly at the center. And we are going to grab a yarn tail, doesn't matter which one you begin with, and just come in and then come out somewhere that is just above or right next to the lining of the shorts. This is just helping getting some direction. And here what we're going to do is you're going to try your best to work just through the back loops. Just the back loops, going all the way around. So back loop only. I know it's tough. So back loop only. Then you come straight into that same stitch space, and then you will work up where the needle will go. Have it close by. You can't have it too far out, otherwise you will see the sewing. And then continue on back loop only. Then come in that stitch space. And this is why you do need a sharp needle for this section, by the way. Something that's sharp at the tip. Definitely do not use a tapestry needle for this section. Going through the back loop only of the stitch. You'll just have to turn it a little bit so you can see. Come over here. We're going to come around the other side. Boom. And then again, back loop only. Give it a little bit of a twist so you can see that back loop. Pull through. Come in that stitch space. Come out somewhere close by. And then again, the back loop. You're seeing the pattern here. We're just going through the back loops all the time. Right there. Yarn tail comes in, yarn needle comes out. Come through the next stitch. Back loop only. You can see how it becomes a little bit difficult to try and find that back loop, but once you got it, you got it. Pull through. Just keep this one in place over here. And I think we're done. Might just come out somewhere roughly here. And if there's one more back loop to go through, I'll go through that now. And you can double up on this as well. Like, there's no, you only have to do it 5 times and whatnot. No, you can go through it a number of times until you're finished. Okay, and then take out the pin once you've done that. And I want you to do the exact same for this one over here. Once that is on, you have the 2 yarn tails at the back here, and then you just tie them in a double knot, just like you did with the arms. 1 and 2, cut and hide. Super simple. Where's my scissors? There we go. Cut, pull away, and hide. Now, if you were struggling getting through those back loops, don't worry about it. Just go through the front and back. That's fine. No problem at all. I mean, it just looks neater when you go through the back loops, but look, it's a tough one. So you guys can do however you want to get them on. All right, now when it comes to the legs, before we get to the eyes and the nose, great, you've already woven those white yarn tails at the top, right? So what we're going to do is have our yarn tails, and you can do this one at a time. You can use one for the sewing and one just to anchor. So come through here. You can see this is either or, I guess. You can have it come this way or you can have it come this way. Completely up to you how you want your leg. Whichever way looks better is more than fine. Well, I'm just going to come out here and just kind of work through the center, but through a little stitch space. You'll see how I do this. So right at the center. Now I'm going to come through this side. Pull it. I'll just move this away because we don't want that in the way. And then I'll just come back and come through this side this time. And then come straight through, and this time I'm going to go all the way through and then poke out somewhere in the body. Boom. And then this one is the anchor tail, so we don't need to do any sewing with this one. I'm just going to come directly through somewhere that's very close by. Come through. Have the yarn tails meet at the same spot. And there we go. So that is the foot complete for that one. Tie these in a double knot, you know the drill, cut and hide. And as you can see, the first leg is now on. I want you to repeat for the second leg. And the legs are now all sewn on, as you can see here. So that's great. So now we are going to come to the eyes and the nose. We've already pinned on the nose, but I'm going to take out the nose just so the yarn tails don't get in the way of each other as we do this. Now, I've kind of kept the section where you've done the slip stitch on the diagonal top. I just prefer that, and I think it looks better. But again, completely up to you how you want to do that. Now, you've got to be really careful when you come to the sewing here, because you cannot have this yarn tail coming further out here than where the eye is. You always want to keep that needle underneath the edging of the eye all the way around, like all the way around. So we're starting here, right? I'm going to come under here. This is why, again, you need a sharp needle. And I'm just going to start. It doesn't matter where I start, but can you see how my needle is coming at just the edge? I'm not going further away from that, and I'm coming through the back loop only of the eye. It didn't matter where I came out. I could have started here, 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 here. It doesn't matter. I've just chosen to start here. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to have the yarn needle come straight back in, and then I'm going to come out this way and try not to get these yarn tails unraveled at each other, and come through a back loop that's somewhere close by. There. Then the yarn tail is going to go straight back in and come out somewhere close by. If you can do it right next to the next stitch space, then absolutely do that. But you never want that needle to come out further than the edge of the eye. Like never. And you can go back and forth and trail your way around. You'll be working in the back loops only of the white eye as you do this. And you're just going to continue all the way around until your eye is, so I can come out roughly over here. I can come back to those stitches later. I'll come out through a back loop somewhere close by, and you'll start to get a hang of all this. Coming out over here, I'm going to come through this back loop, etc., etc., until the eye is nicely secured all the way. You don't have to come through every stitch space if you don't want to, because you can still secure this without coming through every stitch space, but you do want to get through the back loops, and you don't want that sewing to be obvious. Those are your main tips as it comes to the sewing of the eye. Alright, I'm going to let you guys do this on your own. You can see this one's starting to come up a little bit, and wherever it's come up, you've got to keep this eye consistent too, so we'd have to move this one a little bit further up too, just as we've sewn this one, and that's how it's ended up looking. So continue all the way around until that eye is secure. And there we go. So that's the first eye now complete. You can see it ends up being a little bit smaller because we are going through those back loops only and underneath the edging. Okay, so I'm going to repin this one just a little bit. I'll put it just slightly higher. Just slightly, ever so slightly. I'm not going to stretch it because we want these eyes to be roughly the same height within each other. So I'm going to line it up so it comes here, and then this top one's going to finish around the edging. All right, you guys, the same method. I've got my yarn tail out here at the back. Once you finish this one, you'll have that yarn tail also emerge in that same stitch space. And there we go. So the two eyes are now on. Now when it comes to the nose, we will just insert it right in the center base of those two eyes, and then in the same way you will sew this on, but you don't have to come through the back loops. You can just come through the stitch space and straight into the body all the way around. Okay, so I'll let you guys do that. You guys have seen the sewing over here, so it's very similar to the nose. And once you finish sewing on the nose, right at that base section of the eye, I've come out over here and I'm just going to weave across this diagonal on the stitches. So I'm going to come across a couple of these stitch spaces and just work along the diagonal, that dominant or prominent diagonal, as you work through this. You can probably do this like 4 or 5 times in total. It doesn't really matter if you do it more than that. It shouldn't anyway. But yeah, 4 or 5 times. I think I did that 4 times. Then I'll cut the yarn, and it just helps secure it in place further. Push this in. And there we go. So now all that's left is the embroidery of the mouth and the teeth. So let's get on to that now. Okay, so here's my white colored yarn. 4-ply is good enough, and I'm going to have one starting here. And maybe the other one over here. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a yarn tail over here, and then I'm going to come down 1 stitch space and just work between these 2 stitch spaces, and I'm going to weave the yarn back and forth until I have a good thickness that I think is basically reminiscent of a tooth. And yes, the yarn tails do get in the way. It's very unfortunate, but it's just something that you'll have to get used to for sewing. Okay, there, that's a good tooth. So there's one. Here, I'm going to skip a stitch space, and then I'll do the other one over here on this side. I don't mean for them to be super far apart, but his teeth are far apart, so we'll leave it. And try and keep the weaving like the exact same. So I think I wove this one 4 times, so I'm going to do the exact same for this one. And then these 2 yarn tails will just emerge in the same stitch space. You know the drill with all of this, to secure 2 yarn tail ends together. Okay, so there's the 2 teeth. Tie these two together in a double knot. Cut. Take away and pull this into the body to hide. Okay, 2 teeth done. Now you can't really see them, can you? So we need to get some black yarn. And here's some black colored yarn. So I've cut myself about 40 centimeters worth, and I'll just use 1 ply. I only need 1 ply for this. Be creative. If you're using plush yarn, you might just use your cotton yarn in the ending spot anyway. Okay, so when it comes to this, first of all, I'm just going to come around the tooth a little bit. Just give the tooth some lining. That's all we're going to do over here. So I'm going to come up here, come around here. And yes, I got a little bit of the yellow, and I'm kind of doing that on purpose so I can just make this look better. I'm going to come up this side. And then come this side. Okay, repeat for this tooth over here. So that's 1. I'll just try and get a tiny bit of the yellow. That's why you definitely need a sharp needle. Whether that be leather, tapestry, whatnot. Okay, I'm going to come up over here. I'm kind of thinking about how I want this smile to go. If you need to change this, then you change it as appropriate. Okay, I'm going to come all the way. Now I could finish here. Could finish there. I think I'm going to finish here just to keep it even. I could have started over here and finished 1 stitch space over the other side too. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to get you to come right in the middle. Don't pull it too tight just yet. You can see we have to go around this line over here and straight back in, and I'm going to do the same over here as well. So I'm not going to pull too tight just yet. Now I can pull a little tighter. I'm just going to push this needle out here for the moment, just so I can see if anything else, if I need to move it down a little bit. But you know what? That actually works kind of perfect. I could have it come around the edges a little bit better over here. And if you wanted to know how to do that, like here's the example. I'll come out over here where you want it to kind of bend a little bit better. So 1 will be here. 1 will be over here. So that's 1. And you don't want to pull too tight on these sections either, because then you get a really massive indentation. But make sure as you go around, you're entering straight back into the stitch space that you came out of. It has to be. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit silly. There we go. There's the smile. Fantastic. Now, we do want a couple of these 1, 2, 3 eyelashes. It's going to say eyebrows, but it's the eyelash. To do this as best as possible, you might want to start in the middle and do the middle ones first. And that just gives you some bearing. So there's 1. I'm going to come in the middle of this eye. Going up there. I'm going to go up straight here, and then I'll come across the side. So there's that one. This one's going to be in a little bit of a diagonal. I'm trying to get some yarn over here. There's that one. Oh, gee, you can't even see it. That's okay. Come over here. Then I'll come back over here this time. Oh. Yarn came out. That's kind of like my worst nightmare all the time. Gonna come over here. These eyelashes do not by any means need to be perfect. All you want is just 3 on each above each eye. That's it. And I'm gonna do this one again because you cannot see it. Oh, I ripped it out of the needle again. My worst nightmare. At least it's only one ply, so it's easy for me to get in. And I'll just come out here again, but get a bit more yarn so it's... And there we go. Okay, tie these in a double knot. Again, you know this. 1. Guys, we are done, by the way. If you wanted to add any other details, feel free to do so. I know he does have like a little bit of, what is it? I don't know where it is, but it's like blue and red somewhere here. So if you wanted to add that, you can. But honestly, it's not necessary at all. Push this in to hide. There we go. Flatten it out as you want. And that is the end result of your little SpongeBob. Guys, a little plushie, a little mini SpongeBob. Looking fantastic. You can add a keychain or a yarn chain at the top here if you'd like to. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.